Have you ever heard of a war won with cats? It sounds like fantasy, but it may have actually happened in ancient history. The mighty Persian Empire once fought a critical battle using a tactic as strange as it was effective. They used cats, animals sacred to their enemies, to conquer ancient Egypt. This is just one of many overlooked stories from the long reign of the Persian kings. While we often focus on Greece and Rome, Persia was a true superpower, shaping history across 3 continents. Their wars, especially this one, reveal a world where strategy went far beyond swords and shields. The war with Egypt led to the fall of one of the world's oldest civilizations. It's a story of brilliant minds, cultural beliefs, and the struggle for control of the known world. Sometimes, understanding your enemy's beliefs is the most powerful weapon. So let's journey back in time to uncover the secrets of the Persian kings and their forgotten war. We'll explore the evidence and legends behind this bizarre battle. Why did it happen? What were the consequences? And why has this story faded from history? Prepare to see the ancient world from a new perspective. A Persian one. This is a story that deserves to be told. Let's begin. The Persian kings ruled the Achaemenid Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great around 550 BC. Cyrus was a military genius, but also respected the cultures he conquered. The empire stretched from Europe's Balkans to India's Indus Valley, a true ancient superpower. These kings weren't just conquerors, they were master administrators and builders. Darius the Great, for example, organized the empire into provinces and built the royal road for rapid communication. They constructed magnificent cities like Persepolis, leaving a legacy admired for centuries. While Greek historians like Herodotus made the Persians famous as enemies, their story is much richer. The Persians fought not just the Greeks, but also Babylonians, Lydians, and Egyptians. These other conflicts shaped the empire's borders and millions of lives. To truly understand the ancient world, we must look beyond the Greek perspective. The Persian kings ruled a vast multicultural empire that changed history. Their achievements went far beyond the battlefield. Their story is one of innovation, diplomacy, and power. Let's explore the full story of these remarkable rulers. The Persian kings deserve their place in the spotlight. When we think of ancient history, we picture Greece and Rome, their monuments, leaders, and philosophies. But this focus gives us only a narrow slice of the past. The Persian Empire was a dominant power, ruling over a diverse population and connecting cultures across continents. We know more about Greece and Rome because they wrote their own histories, and those writings survived. The Persians kept records, but not narrative histories like the Greeks. As a result, much of what we know about Persia comes from their rivals' perspectives. It's like reading only your opponent's side of a story. To get a balanced view, we must seek out archaeology, Persian records, and accounts from other cultures. Only then can we piece together the forgotten stories of this mighty empire. The Persian legacy is vast, but often hidden in the shadows of Western history. It's time to bring it into the light. Let's look beyond the familiar and discover what we've been missing. Let's zoom in on the Persian conquest of Egypt in 525 BC. King Cambyses II, son of Cyrus, led the Persians against Pharaoh Psamtik III. Egypt was wealthy, ancient, and strategically vital, a tempting prize for any empire. The decisive moment came at the Battle of Pelusium, Egypt's eastern gateway. According to later Greek sources, Cambyses used a psychological trick. He exploited the Egyptians' reverence for cats. Egyptians worshipped cats, associating them with the goddess Bastet. Cambyses ordered his soldiers to paint cats on their shields, and even drove cats and other sacred animals ahead of his army. The Egyptian archers hesitated, terrified of harming the animals and angering their gods. This moment of doubt gave the Persians the opening they needed. The Persians broke through the defenses and won the battle. It was a victory not just of arms, but of understanding the enemy's deepest beliefs. The story of the cats may be part legend, but it reveals the power of psychological warfare. Cambyses turned faith into a weapon. The fall of Pelusium marked the beginning of the end for Egypt's independence. Sometimes the strangest strategies are the most effective. The Persians had conquered Egypt using cats. After Pelusium, the Persian army swept through Egypt. Egyptian morale was shattered, their faith in divine protection broken. Cambyses marched south, capturing Memphis, the capital. Pharaoh Psamtik III was taken prisoner, ending organized resistance. Within months, Egypt was under Persian control. Cambyses was crowned pharaoh, adopting Egyptian titles and rituals to legitimize his rule. The Persians established the 27th dynasty, integrating Egypt as a province of their empire. A Persian governor oversaw administration, but local customs and religion were largely respected. For most Egyptians, daily life continued much as before, but ultimate authority now rested with Persia. Persian rule brought relative peace and stability for over a century. They invested in infrastructure like a canal linking the Nile to the Red Sea, boosting trade. Egypt became a vital, wealthy part of the Persian Empire. The conquest marked a turning point. Egypt was now part of a global superpower. The legacy of this era would shape the region for generations. The war had changed Egypt forever. The conquest of Egypt transformed the Persian Empire. Egypt's wealth and grain fueled Persian power, while control of trade routes expanded their reach. Neighboring kingdoms, seeing Egypt's fate, quickly submitted to Persian rule. The empire's influence now stretched across North Africa, bringing new stability. Inside Egypt, Persian rule was mostly tolerant, but resentment simmered. Several revolts broke out over the next centuries, but all were crushed. This struggle for independence shaped Egyptian identity and set the stage for Alexander the Great's later arrival. The conquest also sparked cultural exchange. Persian, Egyptian, and other traditions mingled as never before. Art, ideas, and customs flowed between peoples, creating a more interconnected ancient world. The Persian conquest was more than a military victory. It was a turning point in global history. It linked cultures and changed the course of empires. The effects of this war echoed for centuries. Its legacy is still felt today. If this war was so important, why is it forgotten? Most of our histories come from Greek and Roman writers, who focused on their own struggles with Persia. The conquest of Egypt was distant to them, so it received little attention. The famous story of the cats comes from sources written centuries later. Its accuracy is debated. Western narratives often cast Persia as the other, downplaying their achievements. Physical evidence of the conquest is scarce. Battles rarely leave clear traces. Historians must piece together the story from scattered clues, texts, records, and artifacts. Much of the puzzle is missing, making this war easy to overlook. Yet its impact was profound. Forgetting history is natural. There's simply too much to remember. We remember the stories told most often: Spartans, Caesars, and Roman legions. The Persian conquest of Egypt lacks the famous heroes and dramatic last stands that capture imaginations. Our memory of history is shaped by what's taught in schools and what seems relevant today. Textbooks focus on the greatest hits, leaving out stories that don't fit the main narrative. Sometimes, history is actively shaped by cultural or political bias. For centuries, European scholars interpreted Middle Eastern history through their own lens. Only recently have new voices begun to tell these stories from different perspectives. Forgotten histories remind us to question what we're taught. They challenge us to look beyond the familiar. The Persian conquest of Egypt is one such story, waiting to be rediscovered. It's time to remember. Why remember a forgotten war from 2,500 years ago? Because it teaches timeless lessons. The Battle of Pelusium shows the power of understanding culture. Cambyses won with knowledge, not just force. History isn't just about heroes and battles. It's about perspective. By seeking out forgotten stories, we build a more honest, complete view of the past. Empires are complex, full of achievements and failures, just like our own societies. Exploring these histories connects us to a wider human story. The Persian Empire's diversity reminds us that the world has always been interconnected. Learning about Persia broadens our horizons and makes us more globally aware. So keep asking, whose story is being told and whose is left out? By doing so, we become better historians and better citizens. The story of the Persian kings and their forgotten wars is just one of many waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this, subscribe to History Hit for more hidden tales from the past. There's always more to learn.